Hello, everybody. Okay, we have Senators Murray and Klobuchar and Schatz. And before I get into my substantive remarks, I just heard something that Trump said. Here's what he said. We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible and bad for them, and irreversible like cutting vast numbers of people out. Well, there it is. Trump admitted himself that he is using Americans as political pawns. He is admitting that he is doing the firing of people if, God forbid, it happens. He's using Americans as pawns, as I said. Democrats do not want a shutdown. We stand ready to work with Republicans to find a bipartisan compromise, and the ball's in their court. When he says he will do things, he is taking ownership. He is taking ownership. It's just like in his first term when he said he will own the shutdown. It's just a point I wanted to make. Okay, now we're 10 hours away from government funding expiring simply because the Republicans are not serious about keeping it open. Finally, after months of asking, and mounting pressure, Leader Jeffries and I went to the White House yesterday to meet with the President and Republican leaders to find a way forward. And sitting in the room, it was very clear, behind closed doors, that the President hasn't fully grasped the magnitude of the disaster he's causing Americans. As costs continue to skyrocket for Americans, thanks to Trump's tariffs, economic policies, clean energy policies, and disastrous blunders, Americans are prepared to spend 114% more on their health insurance. That's right, that just came out. According to the Kaiser Families Foundation's analysis today, without ACA premium tax credits, premiums will double, more than double on average. And this not only affects those on ACA, it affects just about every American family with health insurance, because it is, as has been documented, when they get the deep cuts on ACA and on Medicaid, they don't have as much money, and they raise the costs on everybody else. So virtually no American with health insurance is immune from these disastrous Trump cuts. And what are Republicans doing about this? Avoiding lying. This week, look at this poster. This the one? Here. Let's get it front and center. I borrowed Thune's poster today, as many of you saw. This is what the House Republican Conference Call, Lisa McClain, the head, walked members through polling and advised them not to make the message about health care, because ours lose that argument. That's not me. That's one of the Republican leaders who's in charge of messaging. They're right. She's right. Their position is so callous, and the damage is much greater than even people thought, that it's very unpopular. So when they're up against the brutal fact that Americans are to pay, take this one up, 114% more for marketplace enrollees who currently receive financial assistance. That's the Kaiser Foundation. It's devastating to them. And let me be clear, because they like to tell lies because they can't argue the merits. So they make up things. They're saying undocumented people cannot and will not receive premium tax credits. They say that undocumented people are going to get these credits. That is absolutely false. That is one of the big lies they tell, so they don't have to discuss the issues. The federal government, by law that we passed, does not fund health insurance for undocumented immigrants in Medicaid, period, nor the ACA, nor Medicare. Undocumented immigrants do not get federal health insurance premiums, period. Period. They're lying. I hope you'll call them on it when they bring it up. Some of the newspapers have. Okay? I said this directly to Speaker Johnson in the Oval Office. I told him what he was saying was bull, because he said, you guys want that. And he just smirked and didn't even answer. And why are they lying? They know how unpopular their position is on health care, that they shouldn't talk about it. Republicans know perfectly well that undocumented immigrants are already prohibited, as I said, from getting insurance on ACA, Medicare, or Medicaid. They know perfectly well not a single sentence or clause or comma that we're pushing in our bill does that, but they're lying because they know they're screwed if this debate turns into one about health care. And guess what? That's just what we are doing. We are making this debate a debate on health care. If you want an indication of how serious Republicans are about keeping the government open, who wants the shutdown? There's no better proof than the fact that Speaker Johnson sent everybody home this week, ensuring a shutdown no matter what the Senate did. So don't argue who wants the shutdown. It's Johnson. And when we asked President Trump to meet with us, Hakeem and I, by all reports, it was Johnson who made him pull the meeting back. Pull the meeting back. And if you want another indication, and so, by the way, so the House Republicans should be here, but they're home. If you want another indication of how serious Republicans are about funding the government, look no further than the deepfake AI video the President tried to put up last night after our meeting, when we were actually trying to fund the government. His video was dumb, it was childish, it was petty. It's something that a 5-year-old would do, not a president of the United States, but it shows how unserious they are. They don't give a damn about the harm they will cause with their shutdown. Now, Republicans have until midnight to cut the garbage and get serious with us about solving the health care crisis. When I was majority leader, this is what I did with Thune's chart this morning. He had all these years that we passed CRs. We passed budget bills. We did. You know why? As leader, I sat down with the Republicans every one of those years and created a bipartisan bill. Their bill is partisan. They call it clean. We call it partisan. It has no Democratic input. Thune never talked to me. Johnson never talked to Hakeem. And now Thune is saying, well, the appropriators are working at it. As Patty will tell you, they are trying to work out some budget bills. But the two issues they couldn't decide were health care and rescissions, impoundment, pocket rescissions, and they all agreed the 4 leaders should decide that. And that's when we wrote Thune, and that's when we wrote Johnson, and they never even met with us. So that's why we were able to avoid shutdowns, because we did it in a bipartisan way. They are partisan totally, with no input from us. So, as Republicans continue to lie, distract, duck, hide, Democrats remain ready to get to work, negotiate a bipartisan agreement, and keep the government funded. Senator Murray. I'm going to take all my papers here. Thank you.
Well, there is less than 12 hours to fund the government. House Republicans aren't even here in town, they're on vacation. Meanwhile, Senate Republicans are about to force another vote on a bill that already did not pass and that 8 of them did not even bother to show up to vote for the first time. And Donald Trump, well, the president is resorting to AI deepfakes and bold-faced lies because the actual facts are pretty bad for him here. So here are the facts. Healthcare rates are being set right now. Open enrollment is weeks away. Idaho open enrollment starts October 15th. So American citizens are about to see their premiums skyrocket. In my state, family paying $238 per month for their health insurance right now, thanks to Republicans, they could pay as much as $1,800 per month next year. Look, is the president totally unfit to hold office? Yeah. But it is not about that. This is about health care. He is choosing to shut down the government rather than work with Democrats to fix the health care crisis Republicans created. If it seems like the only sentence that Republicans can form these days consists of a noun, verb, and illegal immigrant, that's because they have to resort to outright lies to defend their truly god-awful health care policies. Their attacks on health care are already hurting American citizens, millions of them. There is no getting around it. Cutting health care by more than $1 trillion, hospitals are already laying off staff and closing down across the country. Millions are going to soon be kicked off of their health care. So Donald Trump can lie, J.D. Vance can lie, but people are still going to get those letters in the mail telling them how much more their health insurance will cost next year. Now, apparently, when President Trump was looking over Democratic health care proposals, he said, and I quote, "Go F yourself." That tells you how much Donald Trump cares about whether families go bankrupt paying for their health care. Premiums on the marketplace are set to more than double. Washington State had an uninsured rate of 15% before the Affordable Care Act. Now, because of that, it is down to 5%. People now, though, are going to lose their health insurance because of Trump and Republicans. They're going to put off their care. Many will get sicker, and some will even die. That is the reality. That is why we're here fighting for health care. I'll be voting no on the partisan Republican-only funding bill that already didn't pass a few weeks ago. I'll be voting yes on the Democratic bill that not only funds government, but also addresses this GOP healthcare crisis and protects Congress's power of the purse. I am ready to keep the government open. As I have said over the last 2 weeks, I am ready. I am willing to stay at the table for as long as it takes. But the question remains, will the Republican leadership get serious and negotiate?
Thank you, Patty. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you, Senator Schumer, and to my colleagues. So yesterday, after weeks of waiting to see if the president would lead Senator Schumer and Leader Jeffrey go over to the White House, this is not a joke. People are literally standing on a healthcare cliff right now. For members of our caucus, when the Republicans, a whole bunch of them, didn't show up and vote last week, what did our people do? We went out and we met with the people in our state. We met with doctors and nurses. We went to rural hospitals. We talked to people that can barely hold on right now. This, what one farmer called a perfect storm of ugly. The tariffs are hitting them, the markets are drying up, and now they have their health care costs. So many of them, especially in rural areas, are on these individual plans. So what does the president do after this meeting? He posts that deep fake offensive video. This isn't a joke. This isn't political theater. He's so proud of the art of the deal, and it is his time to lead. He has said repeatedly, and you've all seen the real videos, where he said this is a time for a president to lead in the past. Well, this is his time to lead. When we talk to the people out there that aren't the ones on the Mar-a-Lago golf course, you hear what's really happening. They look at those grocery bills, they look at their electricity bills. Those things aren't deep fakes. Those things don't lie. Those things are real. So what are they facing? Healthcare cliff. 20 million Americans are set to see their premiums double when they pick a plan starting November 1st. And for those of you that ask, why are you doing this now? This isn't a December thing. This isn't a January thing. This is a now thing. This is happening right now. And the only way to fix this is to do something about it now. Those families that don't know if they're going to have cancer research, and those researchers on Alzheimer's that are looking at going to other countries and looking at what's happening with NIH, this is a now thing. So I hope people remember that this is not a funny deep fake meme. This is not anything he says. And for those people in my state that voted for me and him, and there's a lot of them, they actually thought he'd bring costs down. That's what he said would happen on day 1. Well, it is day 253. And people are paying more for their prescription drugs. They're paying more for their beef. They're paying more for their groceries, and they're paying more for their electricity, and they're sure paying more for their health care premiums. This is his moment to lead.
I'm struck by the extent to which sort of DC brain has infected us all, where we think that this is some sort of cooked up demand. The reason that we are trying to take action now on health care is because people's premiums are going up this coming week by letter. I got a text from a buddy of mine in my fantasy football league, but it was but it was not a trash talking text. He got a letter, 40% increase for his father's premiums. This is not a talking point. This is not an allegation. This is literally what's happening. And 40%, you should be lucky if it's a 40% increase. The average increase is going to be 114%. And so the time to solve this problem is now. Open enrollment is now. Letters are going out now. Now, some insurance companies are sending out letters saying, your rates are increasing, but we're not sure by how much. And some insurance companies are being jawboned into not even sending letters at all. Now, there is only one thing worse than your rates going up on January 1. It is not being told until December that your rates are going up on January 1. People are going to lose their health care. This is not a joke. This is not a political talking point. This is what's going to happen across the country. The idea that this is some Democratic priority or independent priority or Republican priority is nonsense. Tens of millions of people are specifically going to see a 114% increase, and everybody else is in the same risk pool. And so all we're saying is, look, if we were... This is a very damaging issue for Republicans. And if we were terribly cynical, we would just let them stew in it. But we want to solve it because we care in our bones about the people we represent. And so there is still an opportunity to do something about this. There is still an opportunity to do something about this. None of us like shutdowns. But the only way to avoid a shutdown is to sit down between the political parties, and that includes the party out of power, and to make a deal. There's still time.
Peter Schumer. Start off with Buffalo.
All right.
From the Bills.
All right. Thank you, Senator.
He's from Buffalo, you know.
Yes, I am. At this point, it seems like a shutdown is inevitable. When you get to that point, what's the plan to get out of it?
Look, first, it's right now in the Republicans' court. We said this to Trump yesterday. He can easily call up Thune and Johnson and say, just add the two parts we want added to the bill. They can take it out of our bill, put it in theirs, and solve it. So it's in their court. And let me just say, the American people are learning how bad this health care crisis is, and they will put tremendous heat on Republicans to solve it. Yes?
Peter Thune just said that there are going to be no negotiations with Democrats if the government is shut down. So how long are Democrats willing to stomach the shutdown? Days,
Look,
weeks,
it's
months?
in their court to solve it. It's their shutdown. And as I said, they are going to face tremendous pressure from the American people. Trump in the room admitted, I said to him, this is going to be very bad for you, these increases in the health care. And it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for America or anybody. And he admitted that. So I think we believe that this is an issue worth fighting for. We hope the Republicans avoid the shutdown. But if they do it, it's because they didn't even negotiate with us till the last minute. Yes.
Schumer, the president is now threatening these irreversible cuts to the workforce, to programs. Is that a risk that Democrats are willing to take?
The bottom line is he's doing it anyway. They've already cut 300,000 people. Whether there's a shutdown or not, it'll be up to Trump whether he's going to let Musk, formerly Doge, Vogt, do these cuts, do these layoffs, and do these firings. It will fall on him, as I said. He's the one doing the firings, not Democrats. And that's what it shows. Yes. No, right here.
Senator Schumer, Times poll out this morning finds that 2% of Americans rank healthcare as the #1 problem facing the country, which is to say, a very small percentage. How do you think about that disconnect between the language you all are using? This is
It's not what it's. I don't know what the poll numbers were, because the. Yes, without question. Wherever we go, wherever we talk about it, it has our back on this issue, and it shows that who do you trust much more? Who do you trust more to deal with the health care crisis? They trust Democrats. And one final thing. They're going to start getting these notices tomorrow. A lot of people don't know it. But once they start getting these notices, and there are these huge, staggering increases, you know, we thought it was $400 per family on ACA, and somewhat more, somewhat less for people not on ACA. Now it's more, it's 114%. They're going to be staggered, and they're going to say, what's happening? And we're going to be right there explaining to them, it's because the Republicans wouldn't negotiate with us. We're ready to do it any time, and there'll be huge heat on them on this issue. Nope, last one, this gentleman. Had to call on someone from this side, the left side.
Over the last decade and a half, in instances when Republicans have shut down the government over one issue or another, order ACA funding, they did not get the policies that they were requesting. What makes you think this will be different for Democrats?
Because the health care crisis that they created, in part because we asked them 3 times to vote on extending the ACA, and they voted no 3 times. And we believe that this issue is a real issue for the American people. We also believe that when there's a a Republican president, a Republican Senate, a Republican House, the natural inclination is to blame the Republicans. That's what the polling data shows. Who do you know, a neutral question, who do you blame, Democrats or Republicans? It's like +20, they'd blame the Republicans. And we also believe the fact that they wouldn't negotiate with us, which became clearer last week when Trump said yes and Trump said no, the American people don't like that. So we think we're on our front foot as we go into this fight. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
And congratulate him on his new grandchild. Yes,
In the middle of the caucus, my phone rang, and it was my wife. We have a beautiful little boy, name yet not told to us by our daughter and daughter-in-law.
Congrats.